I'm John Furze, a volunteer driver with P4W. I've been doing this nearly 4 years now, and Beatrice has been one of my regulars. So driving her one day, and she just happened to say she was born in the castle. And I said, really? And she says, oh yes. She said, my father was the officer in charge of Inverness Shire Constabulary. And she said that was their headquarters, and it went with the job. I'm picking her up at lunchtime to take her home, and I said, look, I've got a bit of spare time. I said, they're renovating the castle. Would you like me to show you what it is? Oh, I'd love that, she says. Yeah. So we drove up to the castle, which was a workplace, really. And we were at the barrier, and the foreman came and he said, what can I do for you? And I said, well, nothing really. I said, this lady was actually born in the castle and I've just brought her to show her. Oh, right. He says, well, you're very welcome. I said, well, couldn't drive up to the entrance, could we, just so she can see it? He said, of course you can. Good. So he pulls the barriers back and we drive up. And I'm showing her what was going on. And then behind me, he stopped all the plant working, all the diggers and the dumper trucks, and he got all the chaps lined up. And as we drove out, he was just waving, everybody was just waving to Beatrice, and her eyesight's not too good, but I told her what they were doing and she thought it was amazing.
When we moved out of the castle into a council house, it was such an improvement because the castle was so cold with high ceilings and stone walls, and trying to keep a family warm, you know, it was very drafty.
That's your exercise for today.
Oh, perfect.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Well, I was born in the castle on the 19th of December 1927, and the snow was so deep the doctor couldn't get his car past the gatehouse, so he had to leave the car there and walk up to the castle. And I was born on my sister's second birthday. At that time there were county police and borough police. Now I believe it's Police Scotland.
That's right.
And so they each had their own chief constables, etc. And my father was an inspector in the county police. And obviously they provide you with accommodation because you can go anywhere in the county. And because he was at headquarters, we were given accommodation in the castle, which was very cold and drafty. The only thing I remember is that you could ride a tricycle indoors, which was very good. Peter, my brother, who actually died very recently, he also was born in the castle. But so I was probably about 3.5. The corridors were wide, and yes, you could play indoors, plenty of room to run about. Yes, difficult to try and keep warm. That I remember my mother, when we moved into a council house, saying how much easier it was to keep one room warm. We never had. We got fireplaces in the bedroom, but nobody ever lit a fire, I don't think. So we hopped into bed pretty quickly. But no, you could, in an ordinary house, you could keep warm. But living here, difficult. There weren't any ghosts. Never met any. No, I just remember running about. Oh, what I also do remember, and unfortunately, I think whoever was in charge made a dreadful mistake. When they were looking for scrap iron during the war, they took down the two magnificent cannons which pointed west, and they should have been left. They were a feature. They were collecting scrap iron, and people were giving up their railings off their gardens. You'll see a lot of stumps and low walls and stuff. And they were so enthusiastic about donating that I think some councillors, possibly mistakenly, decided to donate the scrap iron, which was these two cannon.
Councillor Leeanne Brown, and I'm a city leader of Inverness. And she's a wonderful woman with fantastic memories, and just to speak to someone that was actually born here, it's really good, because it's not something I expected to hear. Well, I suppose the biggest point is it was never a castle. So it's called Inverness Castle, but it never was. This is a site of various castles over the years, but this was initially a prison, and then once the prison moved to Porterfield, then we had the courthouse beside it. Most of the reports I've heard and seen it's all very positive, because for years locals wanted to visit the castle. They wanted to see in, but obviously you had to have done something wrong mostly to get in. But the beauty is now everyone can come and they all get out at night. There's no panic.
I'm Steve Walsh, Chief Executive of High Life Highland. So just spent the last hour speaking to Beatrice, 98-year-old Beatrice, about her experience of the castle, having been born here in 19 whatever it was, and just listening to some of her nostalgic tales about the castle and her life, to be honest, which was really fascinating, a real privilege to have her along. And I think having opened the castle in December, it kind of brought the whole thing together. We've had school kids along over the past couple of weeks, and now we're right at the other end of the generation speaking to somebody who's got a whole load of history in the place. So it's just been a fantastic morning, and we hope to see her back here time and time again so she can see what we've done with her previous home, and hope that she thinks we've done a really good job with it. And for me, it's just to encourage everybody to come along and experience the castle and some of its stories, of which this is just one.
We've had a busy morning.
We have.
Your chariot away.
Yeah, there we go.
We had a nice time.
Yeah, it was nice, wasn't it?
Very nice.
Everybody was really nice, really nice.
Not changed a bit.